Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello and welcome. It's time for part 2 of Super Sunday and the Weekend Warriors here on Apex Racing TV. But of course, it's the big full fat grid. There's the football spec racers. We are live from Virginia International Racer, or VIR to give it its name. Of course, home to the famous oak tree that is no more. I'm Tim Cox, we've got Josh Wilkie in the virtual production trailer. Charles Blachal joins me very shortly. First off, let's have a look into the championship standings. And, well, we've said it for many a season. It feels Spec 1 is being led by Marco Panero. And it's a healthy lead. I may as well record that a few seasons ago and just play that out each and every week. Jason Green lies in second, but only by 1 point over Yang Lin, of which we didn't catch him the other day, but our producer Josh reliably informs me that Yang Lin dominant in the runoffs, run every category going. Let's go see a victory here from the Chinese driver tonight. Remains to be seen. Duda Castro lies in 4th after a win last time out for his, well, good friend and teammate Gustavo Ariel by a slimmest of margins over Walker, who, funnily enough, is 6th in the championship with Overstreet just in front of him with 2 points. A bit of a gap of 17 points back to Jeff Jacobson with McCain. His debut in Spec 1 up in 8th in the championship with Feeney and Wood run out the top 10. Let's head across into Spec 2 now, and leading the way there is Ian Gibson, and rightly so, with 3 wins from 5 so far this season. Only not being on the podium at Phillip Island. I believe that's because he just didn't turn up that week. What's going to happen to him at VIR? Josh Justice is in 2nd. Joe Paul Jackson is getting cut adrift at this early stage in 3rd. Then for Gleany, he's another 20 points behind in 4th, with Berry, Mr. Consistency, there in 4th. And so 5th even with Furnison, again another new name to the championship, drawing in 6th place on 91 points with Mike Newton. Simpkins is 8th on 74. 69 sees Jeff Horniak in 9th, and Safkowski rounding out your top 10. But yeah, those top few really breaking away at this early stage of the season. Tom Gradwell leads Masters. Someone who hasn't actually featured on the podium so far this season, but with those, consistent finishes in around 4th, that's what sees him lead the championship over Kurt Nunes by 8 points. Then we've got Brad Cathcart, 2 Aussies in the top 3. Yogamani in 4th. A disappointing season for him so far, many may say. Steve Mitchell in 5th, then Brewster. What to do if he wants to get into the top 3 like he was last season? Bradshaw in 7th, then Longin and Tony Race well by his own standards in 9th, and Gary Warbuck running up the top 10. Actually, a bit of mention of Murakami down in 12th. Matt Thomas, he's won that Masters Championship, and he is well down the order. But across the proceedings this evening, Charles Bashal. Well, we've sort of, we've had a little saw base cleanse the planet at Mid-Ohio with the Formula Fords not too long ago here at Apex Racing TV. Only, just about an hour ago. Now, I get the feeling this is going to be a little bit wet, a little bit wild, a little bit crazy.
Yeah, Tim, for sure. Mid-Ohio, very technical track, as we witnessed with a lot of spins and off tracks during the course of that race. So, but it's not very long. Now we come to Country Club Racing here at Virginia International Raceway, and another very, very technical track. But much bigger than what we experienced at Mid-Ohio. So same deal. Lots of elevation changes, lots of tight turns, twisting, turning. A couple good passing opportunities that we see this back straightaway here. You'll see some passes here. You'll see some passes into turn 1, and then we've got a section that's a little more treacherous. And I guess I could call that maybe the front stretch. It's mainly not really straight. Lots of S's uphill in lots of sections. A really sharp corner toward the end of the straight. So this is going to be some really challenging racing, especially with the grid that we've got in store tonight. This is going to be, it could be chaos. It could be a great race, but it could be chaos.
It's going to be one or the other and nothing in between. For me, the treacherous point is roller coaster and hog pen, those last set of corners. I've seen many a big battle that's come down through there in the final lap. I think back, one of the most memorable ones for me was in the Apex Racing Academy F4 series, where the top 3 just wiped each other out, where they were all scrapping away for victory, and that they've run a heat format in that series, and it was the grand final of that event, and yeah, they just wiped each other out, and the guy in 4th just strolled on by, having been about 6 seconds down the road, and well, I could see something like that happen tonight. It's qualifying. Xiangxi Lin leading the way, although the man in form, rightly so, should be there. 202.095. Josh Soto in 2nd. That'll be a bit of a unique, and I think a first here in the SRF Weekend Warriors for a front row. Certainly in the Spec Racer Fords. Dantas 3rd, Panero 4th, Castro 5th, Banku won the Formula Fords over earlier on at an absolutely leisurely pace. He's like 7th on the grid. In terms of Masters, Murakami topping that section. He's 10th overall. And Josh Justice, 25th overall, top of the Spec 2 runners and riders. Although not too many Spec 2 guys with us tonight by the looks of things. So chances of finishing on the podium, they're pretty solid. Certainly in that category anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, to get a class podium should be a little interesting, but yeah, they've got a much better chance than, as you can see, and this is what kind of strikes me. So number 1, Marco Panero in P4, that just seems out of place and bizarre. He's normally front row or pole every event, but obviously we talked about Xiangxi Lin and his week he's had with the SCCA runoffs, which is hosted here at VIR. So obviously had a lot of laps and a lot of different cars here this week, and as quite honestly, has been dominant, and so it's kind of showing that he's probably got this track figured out. So and then to see the highest ranked Masters driver Murakami in P10 is a bit of a shock, because normally you'd see Race and Murakami and Monty all kind of jostling around that top 5 area. So just shows you the strength of this field that we've got in this race today.
It certainly does. And, well, if Yang Shilin hasn't got this place figured out by now, after, like you say, all the laps he's turned in different cars, then, well, I dread to think what it would be like when he has got it figured out. That would be an incredibly scary prospect. He's on pole. Oh, we've got just 2 minutes left in qualifying right now. And that driver's getting a lap stop. Of course, a longer lap, so, unless a lot of these drivers who are on their current lap, this is going to be their final lap, isn't it, realistically? So those who've not crossed the line.
Yeah, I just was just looking, and Panero just came out of the pits with like 2 minutes and 5 seconds left. So if he's going to try and get one more hot lap in, he's going to have to hustle that car around in order to get back to the start-finish line before the checkers comes out.
And that's not necessarily going to be the best way of trying to bring in the tyres. And you're going to have people on hot laps. You're going to try to get out of their way. On board with Dantas, so Castro right now. That is Dantas, apologies, in front of us. Getting a lovely, lovely slingshot of his fellow countryman there. Goes Dudu Castro. And this is into the treacherous part. And there you go. Yeah. That's why I forewarned about it a few minutes ago.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's that's the first corner of that section that's downhill, but still quite a bit of elevation with little ups and downs and twists and turns, and the car's light and it's just very difficult to control as you see him as he crested that hill, just carrying too much speed and just couldn't control the car into the corner.
We're on board with Marco Panera right now, Charles, and he's made it around, and he needs to as well, because Simon Mayer has pushed him down to the third row of the grid. Him and Panera and Castro will make it that third row as things stand at the moment. Row 2 being Dantas and Mayer. So both Panera and Castro moving into a demoted down one row here in the latter stages of qualifying. And that is Alan McCain in front of him. Someone who's not exactly slow either. And I think that's, he's probably got the right sort of ability to drive it. It's someone who he will catch up with. So he'll get a bit of a tow, but he's not going to get too close to him. He's not going to trip over him, and hopefully it's not going to ruin his lap if he wants to get on pole here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's just trying to carry as much speed as he can to make up this gap. Obviously, he's looking to get that draft down the back straight. It looks like he's got it timed really well. He's back up to the back of McCain. Exits that corner, so now he should get this nice big toe down through here and should pass him by the time they crest the hill. We'll see how much speed McCain's carrying.
We will see. I mean, McCain could well be, I think he's on a fast lap himself, but here we go.
Yep.
Pulls out the slipstream. Can he get back across onto the racing line in time? Yes, he can, Charles. You called it perfectly.
Very, very nicely done. He had that timed out quite well.
Savini would have known his teammate was coming flying through. Here we go, folks. Is this going to be our new pole sitter with everyone in front of him? Done and dusted. Just trying to balance the car on the curbs there. And he crosses the line. What's it going to be from Marco Panero? Currently fifth, 2:02.475, his previous best. Will he move up? So there's across the line. Let's wait for it to update. Oh, and it's only good enough for fourth, just to displace Mayer.
Wow. I mean, that was obviously still a good lap. He knocked about almost 3/10 off his lap time, but just not enough to get to the top. He's still about a quarter or a tenth and a half behind Lynn.
Story of my iRacing career, that good, but just not enough. Actually, no, not even good, to be fair. Checker flag fully out now anyway. So drivers able to complete their laps, obviously. This being one of them, Evandro Dantas, currently third. Second round of the grid with Panera, who just moved there. I mean, that's going to be interesting. We're going to have Castro and Panero. Oh, Dantas bails and he's into the pits. So yes, practicing that pit entrance, very, very crucial. Yeah, we're going to have Castro and Panero starting on the same side of the grid, left side, together. That could be a little bit feisty, potentially. They've come to blows many a times. Tonight going to be another night of that. It remains to be seen. So we've got Gianni Longin out on track as we're into the last 40-odd seconds now of qualifying, but Yes, once a long stand of which it won't be an official lap because he'd already crossed the line before the checkered flag had come out. So, yeah, a bit of the odd situation where we've got minimal people and we're just sat around killing time for a change, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So yeah, it's this is going to be a really interesting race. I'm looking forward to seeing it. And yeah, the Castro and Panero on the same side, on the inside of see Megan Overstreet. Looks like she's practicing her starts.
Well, I'd say more rolling burnouts.
Yeah. So yeah, on the inside of that, and it's going to be interesting. You know, obviously Lynn wants to get that jump at the start of the race. But it's going to be interesting to see what Soto, because it's Soto, Panero, Soto, Panero, Castro, and Cabanca on that inside line in the front four. So see how they do, if they're going to do they'll keep it too wide or maybe spread it.
Should have a little look through the grid. We've got a long lap, so we've got plenty of time to kill here at VIR, haven't we? So Yangshi Lin starts from pole, continuing his rich vein form at this circuit. Josh Soto on the front row with him. I think that's the first time we've ever had Josh Soto on the front row, so congratulations to the young American there. At only half a tenth, well, not even that, 400ths of a second slower than Yangshi Lin. Dantas and Panero make up row 2, with Mayer and Castro making up row 3. Overstreet has Cabanca, fellow countryman, alongside her for row 4, with Jason Green starting on row 5. Next to Bigwell Kushenka. Rounds out your top 10. So row 6 is Bobby West, and top qualifier in Masters. Chris Murakami, welcome back to the front of Masters for you. Les Plaver has Thomas Renders for company. Then we've got York Marnie in 15th. Maybe a little bit disappointing for him. He starts to another newcomer to this series. We love having newcomers here at SRF Weekend Warriors. It's Tomas Reyes, the Central Eastern European driver. Tom Gradwell, your leader in Masters, starts 17th left to Claudio Gardini. That's a good, strong qualifying there from Gardini. The Swiss driver running well here at VAR. John Schwartz has Jeff Fritcher for company to make up the row 10 and your top 20. Alan McCain starts just outside in 21st next to Jason Perry, with Daniel Wood and Fabio Scali on row 12. Row 13, unlucky for some. Let's hope it's not for Michael Nelson and Kurt Nunes. Chris Forbes, let's hope he goes well because he's British and there's zero bias here from me. He starts next to Caleb Pocock, with row 15 being Josh Justice and Tyler Brackenbury. Cesar Ibanez has Andrea Favini for company on row 16. Row 17, that's Kevin Adrian, the Mexican, next to Bradford Gould. Maurice Finneson has leader in Spec 2. Ian Gibson well down in 36th there. It's a bit of a disappointing one from him. We have row 19, being Andrew Love and Paul Jackson, and row 20 in top 40 being rounded out by Adam Bradshaw and Stephen Mitchell. All Masters row. In fact, it makes up 3 All Masters row in a row, with Gary Walbot and Jan Long in me, row 21. Row 22 is John Young and Bob Kern. Chris Redmond starts next to, well, not seeing a time in qualifying, and neither did James Walker, who has taken to the grid. Of course, if you didn't see it last week at Spa, 0.04 of a second away from first at the line against Gustavo Ariel. What a finish it was. I mean, yeah, just go back and watch it. Just do yourself a favour, really.
For sure.
Flavio Andalo and Jeff Horniak, row I've lost count because I should know by now, used to these big grids. And Jason Berry and Rick Wishen haven't taken to the grid on the row, what would be 24, well, partly sort of split across a little bit there. But I have missed off, have I missed, Flavio Andalo, sorry about you, you have taken to the track. So we've got 2 drivers, 48 and 49 being Jason Perry and Rick Rishan, haven't taken to the track, but that's, we've got, actually no, Jason Perry started well up, didn't he? He's showing down 26, he was midfield, so that's going to shuffle people around a little bit. Yeah,
so interestingly enough, as I was watching the grid as they were coming off, as you were doing the entries, and it looked like Chris Murakami actually just didn't get started. And so he basically held up that line behind him, and it's kind of just move people around. I'm not sure what happened, but he was stationary for a good 7 or 8 seconds as people were trying to just move out of the way.
Well, according to this, Chris Redmond and Flavio Andalo have had a bit of a prang on the outlap. And that could be partly why, because I'm showing Tyler Brackery is up 4 places. And then we get a little bit of jockeying around. But Jason Perry being out, obviously not taking the start, starting from the pits, that's what's caused quite a bit of this. I mean, that big grid could well help him. I mean, maybe it's the tactic he's going for here. I'll start from the pits, avoid all the action, let a lot of people just kill each other and fall off the road, and I'll gain lots of places.
Yeah, and now for my next trick, watch me work my way through the grid and get a top 10 out of this. I mean, yeah, it's it's a what are we looking at here 49 cars or 48 cars on track. Starting in the back is it's safe for the most part, but obviously you're going to end up by the time you get up to your race pace, you're probably 15, 20 seconds off the leader, and so that's tough to make up during the course of a 40-minute race.
You never quite know, though. This is the SRF Weekend Warriors. Porsche 911 safety car is in. Let's get ready to go racing, folks. From VIR, as Yang Jilin controls the pace, brings us up slowly. He's going to go late, compressing the pack as we are green. We are racing, and already Castro just pulling out alongside Panero there. Are they going to come to blows down into turn 1? Castro just filters back in, but we're too wide. We're 3 wide. I think there might even be a attempt at a 4 wide in the background there. Everyone just filtering their way through. We're all going to make it through clean here on the opening corner, the opening lap, and yes, we've done it, but there's still even 2 and 3 wide in the background there. Getting away okay, though, is our top group, and everyone's still nose to tail these early stages, Charles.
Yeah, it looks like, from what I'm looking at on the timing and scoring, looks like everybody got away cleanly. There's a couple of shuffles going on in the mid-pack and toward the back, but that's kind of to be expected. But yeah, everybody that started the race is still racing, so that's what we like to see.
Wow. Talking of moving up places, there's James Walker up 9 already, Charles. I saw Bradford Gould up 7 into 27th. I thought that was great, and then I saw James Walker, he's made that 10 into 36, but I think, to be fair, he's going to pick off Ian Gibson with relative ease. Heading through this part of the circuit, someone just off a little bit there. That was the 208 of Kevin Adrian. They're collecting together, and everyone's surviving that one.
Yeah, so far so good. Yeah, obviously Walker up 11 spots already, but just look at the size of this train coming down the straightaway here. It's crazy.
There's not one gap that's bigger than a second. Bigger than 8 tenths, in fact, here in these opening stages. One long line that nearly fills the entirety of this mammoth back straightaway here. Jason Perry got going from the pit, so only way is up for Perry right now. But Dantas has skipped ahead of not just Soto, but Lin as well, and is going to lead coming on to the end of lap 1. Where, I mean, I'm genuinely shocked. We've got away without one incident.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I like it. It's going to make this race very interesting. And so now it's you're out of that zone where it's that random crash that takes out 6, 7, 10 cars. And so now it's just about being consistent for 40 minutes. And as we see the first little mistake by Dantas there, going wide out of 1, allows Soto and Lin to get back past.
Well, Soto really, he's in control of this one right now. I mean, but then he's trying to bridge that, make a big enough gap. He's got out to 6 attempts over Dantas. And that is the crucial point here, isn't it? Because
it is.
He needs to make that gap as big as possible. Come that back straight away, because I mean, he needs to get it to close to a second as possible. But already Dantas through this section here, although you're sweeping left and right, in these cars you can still slipstream and pick up time. And in fact, that gap's gone from 6 temps down to 2 temps in, well, probably about half a mile.
Right. And yeah, I was going to say, my guess is you're probably looking at a half a second gained in the slipstream on the back straight as they come through Oak Tree, minus the Oak Tree. The corner's still the same name. So we'll see here as he's 3.5 tenths and closing, as we'll see this gap start to come down. Get a little look from behind from Dantas as Lynn moves over to the right.
Is he pushing Soto
No,
there?
no, I'm sorry. That was Dantas actually making the move around Soto, Lynn following.
This could be treacherous. Lynn skipping the curbs a little bit there and touching the grass, and he's going to squeeze his way past Josh Soto.
Yeah, good racing. Got that cleared. Just wasn't enough room to go ahead and get him, and they were. Everybody was aware of it and fought hard and close, but in the end, for this time, Lynn wins that battle.
He was brave and committed, and that's for certain. Certainly in my box, Marco Panero not hanging around today, and looking at trying to make up some places. Lynn going to attempt the around the outside move here on Evandro Dantas, and I think he's going to pull this one off, Charles. Surely not. He's just keeping his car alongside to try and maybe sneak up the inside, but Dantas says, no, Yangshi, you don't have it that easy, my friend, and just shuts the door in his face.
Yeah, absolutely. He he was going to try and hang on that left side to allow the track to switch back. It's going to be on the inside line, but Dantas was able to get a good run out of the corner and then be able to close the door.
Not quite at this attempt, but heading up the hill, we know the place not to be is out in front because he will get overtaken. And good news, Charles, we finally got our gap. A gap larger than a second out of our train. However, you have to go all the way down to Josh Justice in 29th to find that.
Yeah, it's and that's probably the way it's going to be, the gap. So you'll see the gaps between maybe some of the class racing together, and they'll start to spread out as people make mistakes. You'll get a little off track here and there, and you'll see some gaps open up. But so far, I mean, obviously, if you just you look at just a huge line of traffic. It's almost like the line trying to get out of the track after the race.
I'm sure a big cloud of smoke in the background down at Oak Tree as these guys are filtering through. Bit of a lock up there from Soto. Just keeping half an eye on James Walker, making up places at 16 now into 30th, having started at the back. However, so there's definitely been something happening. Something involving Just Justice and Angelo Favini, I believe, which has meant that we've got a big gap, a measure of 3.5 seconds between Kevin Adrian in 29th, Attila Brackenbury in 28th. But still, that is one long train as yet again they all attack one another coming down into turn one. Beautiful panoramic, swooping angles. Just adding cinematic justice to this battle that's happening up at the front. And is this going to be the time as Lynn kept his nose just in this enough? I think he might have just done it.
Another chance, double left.
Nope, Josh Soto.
No, good driving. But that's another reason this pack is staying so close together, is these guys up front are battling for position and going side by side, and that's slowing them down and allowing these cars behind to stay in the race.
Well, let's have a look at what happened. So there's Josh Justice, and it's Oak Tree. Is he going to lose the rear? Is he going to loop it?
He is, and then we get the sympathy spin behind, as I'm sure was just trying to avoid the car, and then of course backs it into the wall and is able to try and rejoin. Hopefully safely. I didn't see any other wrecks, so I'm assuming safely.
I'm assuming safely as well, but definitely is going to hamper that progress of Walker as he tries to find his way back through the pack. That is really for certain, and in fact he's dropped down to 33rd because of it. Redmond. Great start from him. He's now the highest position climber up into 31st at 14 spots. But you got that little gaggle, haven't you? Redmond and Darlow, Walker all up 14, and 11 spots respectively for those three right now. But well, I'm looking forward to this one. We are 8 minutes into this, Charles, out of 40 minutes. And still, we have one long train that stretches from first all the way through to 28th, Michael Nelson. And everyone, lap after, there's none of this, right, let's walk together, let's just, stay in line. Nothing happens until after the round of pit stops. Everyone's constantly sniping, jabbing, ducking, dodging, diving, and trying to make progress in this opening laps.
Yeah, it looks like we had a little spin. Looks like Ray's is dropping down the order also in the background there. I did see the smoke coming through one, so I'm assuming he's either looped the car.
I think, yeah.
Did we have an incident,
justice.
maybe?
I think we've lost justice. There's something flagging in our system. Walker's stopped making progress, and he's lost a bit of time to Ian Gibson in front of him. So I think that's what's caused that one. That's for sure. But he's spreading out a little. So Christian Kabanka's just falling off the back of Jason Green to about the tune about a second. In fact, there you go. You can see it on your screen right now of how that gap's starting to open up in these early stages. I say early stages, quarter race distance, near as damn it completes. Just a long lap here at VIO. Yeah. It's a fraction over 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's 1.1. Let's see if there's enough there for him to maybe tighten that up as we get the replay here. Justice with the modified.
Wow, so he's lost his bonnet somewhere else there. That's another. He's had another incident prior to that, hasn't he?
He has, and I saw another one go by also. I think he's basically just trying to stay out of the way to get to the back of the pack at this point.
I concur with you, Charles. Answer your question. That gap has shrunk from Kabanka to Green, largely because Simon May has just slotted his car in between them. So it's that power of the slipstream working together. As you said, rightly so, a few laps ago. These guys at the front scrapping away left, right, and centre, just allowing everyone else to stay in touch in these early stages here.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just one big draft train, and like I said, every time those cars go side by side up at the front of the pack, it just allows this train to stay that much tighter.
Look at that, no. Soto unable to say no any much longer, and Lynn retakes the lead. For how much longer? That is the question. But essentially, realistically, it doesn't matter too much. Yeah. It's all about where you are after these pit stops.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be, is there going to be a mistake made in pit entry or pit exit that allows the maybe the front couple of cars to separate? Because at this point, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. As like I said, as long as these cars stay on the track, nobody makes a mistake up front, and they keep swapping back and forth. My guess is Soto will be in the lead by the end of this back straight here coming up. It'll stay like this until the pit cycle's over, and maybe till the end of the race, which I'd be down for. I'd be all right for that. Yeah.
Well, look what's happened as well, because Simon Mayer has hauled that following group up to within 6/10 and slipstream range of that group up in front. And I do wonder if Marco Panetti, I thought he might make a bit of a move here, but it looks like this top 5 have just settled down. Sorry, top 6, apologies. Settled down, they've calmed down, and electing to remain line astern, maybe push a bit, because they can see, well, do you know what, we got away from that group, but Simon Mayer has hauled them back up to it, now for only 3/10, which is about the average gap between everyone at this stage. So what was a top 6 is now formed down to a top 16. Let's play that.
So yeah, there's only a 1 second gap back to McCain there. And so, once again, this may be a really good race. But at the end of it, I said Wood dropped out. I'm not sure what happened there.
That's why, Charles.
Oh, our first pit take, and that I'm going to say they're inside the fuel window for this, so that will be our first undercut trying to work.
I'm not sure here, Charles. We've seen the power of the draft time and time again. I mean, so much so, let's play that down in 16%, just at the fastest lap of the race, to show you what's happening out on track. So Danwood, I don't think there's got to be surely damage induced. But this car looked okay. But then we did come to him later. He'd already pulled up, so those fast repair surely would have worked out already, so not too sure on that one.
Yeah, well, 12.5-second stop, so that's pretty standard pit stop time for this race. And he came out in 41st, so there's a little bit of a gap up to Mitchell. So he's got some clean air to work with as we see Justice come into the pits. I'm sure there'll be a fast repair checkbox ticked, so he can get his front end put back on and get the car cleaned up and try and go out and finish this race.
Well, that rear end is bent where he, out of frustration, jammed it into reverse down at Oak Tree and then hit the wall. Despite that, a large runoff where he's trying to get the car up and running again. You could just oozed frustration, that whole situation. Meanwhile, back up front, I said about Paneri, didn't do it last time, as Soto has dropped all the way down to 5th. Green's lost a bit of time. He's sort of backed out of this. But it's all changed yet again up the front. Now Panero leads. Now what's he going to do? Can he do anything? I don't think he can, realistically. That's not doubting the man's ability.
No, absolutely not. I mean, this is we could almost rename this the Panero Invitational every week. But I think Lynn is able to match his pace this race. As we can see, he's looking to the inside.
I think based on qualifying, Charles, I think he's able to outdo him on pace, if that's anything to go by.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it could have been just, because there's so many cars out on track, it could have just been Panero just not getting that fast lap.
Very true.
With all the traffic. But yeah, obviously from the week Lynn's had with the runoffs, then I'm just going to say that, this is not the normal race where Panero's a half second a lap faster than everybody. This looks like it's going to be much more competitive.
So, this is where earlier on, this is what happened to Josh Soto. Got squeezed off line there. Now, wow.
Little contact. Yeah, a little contact with Panero there. So pushed him off the track.
Shoulder barge, wasn't it?
It was.
Old school touring cars.
Yeah, so pushed him back. So he's obviously still right there as we see a little lock up out in the corner there. So he looks like he's dropped down to P5. Still well, yeah, still well in it. And it's, as you can see, still got that big train of cars. So as long as he's staying in that train, he's got an opportunity to move forward.
Well, that train has increased, Charles. We're now up to 19 cars battling it out for the lead on lap 8. 16 minutes complete here for VIR. So, that's Flavor.
Oh, no.
Across curbs, and that's Renders he's made contact with.
Yeah, Renders. I think Pleva was involved in that, or had to check up to avoid it. As we see Renders getting going again here, he's dropped all the way down to 22nd.
So Renders did start on the front row, didn't he? That was at Phillip Island.
Yep.
Maybe says it right.
I think that's correct. Yeah, he had a really good race there, and so this is. I mean, he's still not out of the woods yet, but now he's got a much bigger hill to climb.
That has sort of broken up.
Yeah.
That sort of top group a little bit. There's Yogmani, who's leading the best of the rest train. Finds himself 1.6 seconds behind Bobby West in 11th. There are people that can help him in this train behind him, and a bit of working together, a bit of, they need to get the old NASCAR, pushing train going here, Charles, because Fritzscher's, he's wily off Oxley, he's been around the block, he could do it, so could Banker, McCain's got pace, and provided a bit of lady luck is on his side, he'll be okay. Flavor hasn't truly dropped out of this group, though, either, so he has dropped places, he's down to 17th, but still in the shot, but you've got to ask the question of how much damage from that contact with Thomas Renders, because it was a proper T-bone.
Yeah, it really was. So yeah, my guess is he's just going to try and keep his nose tucked in. As long as there's not wheel or suspension damage, if it's just aero, he could just kind of stay in that pack and kind of hang in there, and until we get to the pit stop, we take his fast repair, and then it'll be good as new again, and can maybe challenge back up to the front. But yeah, I want to just keep seeing if these these cars up front, as we see them going too wide again, as long as they keep doing that, those guys that are in that second train have the ability to catch back up.
And they're still doing it, Charles, but Lynn squeezes in front of Panero. Back out in front. Real battle for the ages here at VIR.
It really is. I think you could take the top 10 and just throw a blanket over them. I couldn't even pick a winner at this point because you just never know what's going to happen because they're just racing so close together, and they're still fighting for that one position. As you can see, Castro way on the outside, almost 3 wide.
Wow, Dudu Castro trying to swoop down and take them all in one shot, but he gets 2 of them. That's Soto and Panero. And Panero is so much slow, caught unawares. He's slow off the corner, and Josh Soto says, "Hey, wait, Marco, I'll take a position from you as well while we're at it for good measures." So, wow, what a beautiful move from the Brazilian there. I mean, if he'd taken the lead from that, I mean, I'd just give up now for move of the season. Just give it all to him now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we see the gap now between 11th and 12th down to about 1.2. So that's starting to tighten back up again as these guys are up here battling. It's just, this is going to be such a fascinating end of this race.
Well, let's relive that moment on board with Dudu Castro. So there's Soto in front of us, then Panero, then Lynn. So you move across, driver's left of Soto, and he just sends it in deep.
Yeah,
they're all so shallow.
Yeah, he had a little bit of overspeed from the straights, pulled out, and then just broke really, really late.
I think it's because they're all so close to the inside of the track, Charles. They had to get on the brakes so early to make it round the corner. Back on board with Castro, closing. Oh, hello! There comes a steaming through Josh Soto, not hanging around. Does Castro? Can he do Lynn? Coming down into the roller coaster, squirrely on the brakes from the young American. And he's going to do the pair of them.
Wow. Oh, such great racing. Such great racing. This is so much fun to watch.
I'm gutted, Charles. I'm absolutely devastated because we're halfway through the race and we've got to end this in 20 minutes' time.
Yeah, and we've had just a couple of people pit. Everybody looks like they're going to run long. And so there may be another traffic jam as we come into to pit lane.
Good news as well, Charles. That gap is still shrinking. There's a bit of a lock up there. I think that's Murakami having to throw out the anchors, just snatching the front right brake. Caleb Pocock bails. He's into the pits, Charles. But that gap's shrinking. Yulmani, he's reduced it down to 1.1 seconds. Actually, he's just taken another tenth or so out of this group. Great stuff from the Swiss driver. Everyone behind him, Fritscher, Kabanka, hats off to them, working all together to close up that gap. In fact, they've just taken about another half second out of him, so 7 tenths. So they're now within shot. These beautiful camera angles our producer Josh is bringing to us. You really see and showcase how they're closing up these gaps right now. So we're now back to, well, what is a top 18 for the lead?
Yeah. Pretty much as we're coming up on a lap car. Is that Jeff Horniak? So he's going to just stay wide, try and stay out of everybody's way as they work their way through. Nice job, Jeff. Just staying out of the race, letting these cars continue to battle.
I was surprised he didn't bail through the support pits there and try and allow a few more of them free, although him rejoining might have surprised a few more people. So there goes Lynn past Soto, who'd managed to actually get past Lynn, hadn't he, in all the melee.
Yeah, he did.
And Castro's dropped to third.
Yeah, I think this is going to happen just basically every lap. It's just going to be whoever is in second place or third place is going to make a move down the back straight and pick up the front spot and lead a lap, and then the next time through they'll do it all over again.
Charles, I made a very bad judgment call earlier on the Formula Fords about Jason Green. I said he's the one to watch out for because, wasn't making any progress, clearly fuel saving. He said after the race when he spoke to us in the interviews, he was pushing as hard as he can. I mean, it's the simplest thing now, but I don't know whether it's because he's pushing so hard or if he's actually fuel saving, but always someone to watch out for, which is getting me wondering, who else is going, do you know what? I'm sitting back. I'm on front row seats. So this brilliant action that we're seeing happening up front here. And just fuel saving this one.
I haven't really seen Dantas make any moves in the last few laps. Once he's back in P5, I think he's just kind of said, you know what, this is okay. I'm fine with this. Green actually does need to get a little bit of a move on and tighten that gap back up, and just to make sure that he can stay in that draft train, and don't let those front 5 separate from him. But yeah, you can see obviously still that long train of cars in the front of this pack.
I mean, could potentially be on for our first Josh Soto podium this season.
It is very possible. It is
one
very
driver
possible.
Who's gonna, well, James Walker. He's not going to finish on the pace. Well, I say this now. Well, I take it with a pinch of salt. He's up 23 places. He's into 23rd. There he is. That is Chris Redmond, who he's been working together with to come through the pack. Unfortunately, incidents in front of them has meant they've got a lot of work to do to try and stay into the fight. Kabanka's lost a lot of time as well, down in 18th. So he's dropped 10 places from where he started, having started 8th. Finds himself, well, the tail end of this group, but he's got time. 5 seconds back to Kurt Nunes, who's in 19th right now. So... Yes.
Yeah, 6 second gap between P1 and P18 on track.
Soto's into the pits, Charles.
Yep,
That's
he is.
early and brave.
That he's coming in by himself, and you know, with there is another group of cars. There's several little groups of cars back there, so he can kind of do the leapfrog and kind of, you know, from draft pack to draft pack to see if he can maximize this undercut. And, you know, at 25 minutes, we were saying undercut, but realistically, nobody else is really pitted from the front. So he's taking a flyer here.
Kevin Adrian's coming from the lead of Spec 2 as he heads into pit road. Gradwell, Nelson, Jackson, Bradshaw, all into pit road. Nunes in 2. So in terms of your standings, yeah, looking like Masters, Murakami, Marnie, Fritcher, 7th, 11th, 12th right now. And I'm not convinced, Charles, on your argument, because yes, he can, you know, like you say, leapfrog, but how much is he going to get held up in the corners from the slower pace of the people around him?
That's the whole thing, right? He came out of the pits. He's in 27th. So he has got, I believe, Andrew Love right in front of him.
And that's it. It's 5 seconds and up the road to Jason Perry.
Yep, and that's a tough hill to climb by yourself. Hopefully he can play Pied Piper here with Love and help, you know, work together and see if they can close that gap up.
I mean, his only saving grace realistically is that I know he will lose time in the corners, but all the battling that's happening up front is not exactly meaning that they're running at full chat, is it? You know, they're not maximizing their pace. So, I mean, am I completely and utterly wrong? Am I barking up the oak tree that doesn't exist anymore?
You know, and that's a good point. Yeah, as long as they keep battling up front, as we said, that brings all those cars. Whoa, there's a big pack coming in now.
Yeah, Murakami, Marnie, Fritcher, Plaver, McCain, Schwartz, Kabanka, and Gardini, and Scarlett all in. Oh, look at that gaggle. Someone locking up fully coming into the pits there.
That was basically the back half of that lead pack, thinking, okay, I've got to try and, you know, protect myself. And everybody says, yeah, we all need to protect ourselves. So it's going to be one of those that's, you know, this might work to their advantage. You know, if they can stay in line and work together, then they can be somewhere mid-pack of that front group by the time it's all said and done. So, you know, everybody's making calls, trying to work some strategy, and we still got about 13 minutes before we find out what pays off and what doesn't.
Look at the fight to get off pit road. It's more like turning into a bit of a street fight, isn't it? You know, down in there, it's a real skirmish.
It really is.
Coming off pit road, Josh Soto leads the way of everyone who has pitted so far, but he's by himself. He's got no one to slipstream with, and that could be the undoing of the American. And that's what worries me. He's got no one behind him, no one in front of him. Yes, he can absolutely nail it through the technical parts of the circuit, like, through roller coaster, through hog pen, through the first couple of sectors. But this is where he's stuck. This was where this lot are all helping each other out. Despite, look at this, they're almost 3 wide down the back straightaway.
Yeah, but here's the thing about that. Soto he was running in the top 3, more or less, during that first stint. The cars that came in together in the group, we said 1 to 18 was about 6-second gap. They're 6 seconds behind Soto. So even with, as we see a lot more coming in, Pinero, Lynn, Dantas, Green, Cuenca.
It's only Castro and Mayer who've kept going. Gordon and Darla, who are well out of position because they've ran it in so deep here, have kept going too. Right. Well, it's tough. As Castro made the right call. Did he think that everyone else wouldn't go with them? But equally, is he fuel saved this one? I don't know. Soto, last time round, Charles. Actually, he's about to come. Well, his previous lap, he's about to come round to complete his current lap. Well, this is going to give us a real indication. He's coming through at full chat, down the start straight away. But I feel he's lost time here. But I think he's still within a shot potentially. Skips past West and Overstreet. Oh, screaming onto the brakes into turn 1. Past Dantas onto the back of Jason Green. But they've definitely broken up a bit. Lynn, 2 seconds he lost in the pit stop somehow. Well, actually, he's lost that one. They've got back going again. No, sorry, that's when he's got the jump on Jason Green. So Green he was stopped for, 6 tenths longer than Pinero and Lynn, who only had 200ths of a second different in terms of their pit stop times. Nothing whatsoever.
Yeah, it's Pinero and Lynn are still pretty tight together. There's a gap to Green, Soto, Dantas. So Soto did lose out a little bit. He's still, still in there or thereabouts. So he's still in the position for a top 5. I don't know if he's got a podium, but it just depends. When Pinero and Lynn get close enough together, they start passing each other, as we were doing before the pit stops. Then we'll see all those gaps start to shrink again, and then we'll see that hopefully that big 10-car pack at the end of the race.
Coming down through Hogpen is our leader. Bit of a lock up there. That could be telling in terms of the story of this race. It seems a little bit slow and a bit unsure into the pits. Mayer in as well. So Mayer was further back in that pack, Charles, and the fact he's closed right up onto the back of Castro says to me that has cost him dearly.
Yeah, there was a 3+ second gap between Mayer and Castro before that little bobble. So yeah, he lost all that time, and so Castro, I think, is going to be the big loser of this pit cycle. After
he's
that,
still stationary. He's only just getting going now. 15 seconds stationary, Charles. That's cost him 4 seconds compared to everyone else, and look, he's going to get enveloped into this best of the rest group. It's currently being led by, take your pick. Look at him scattered across the track. Simon Mayer leads that group, so that's how much it's cost the Brazilian.
Monty's up to 12th, and he's in the middle of this pack as well. But he's 2 spots behind Murakami for that class win. And I mean, realistically, he's 2 spots in about basically a half second. Oh, was that Castro around? Was that Castro that spun?
He's losing a lot of time, and it's growing, Charles. Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be.
Yeah, I didn't see who the other car was, but it looked like they kind of got crossed up in a corner, and Castro got spun or spun.
It's different here in front of him.
Yep, dive to the inside. Yeah, I think he caught that inside curb, and it kind of kicked him back over into the racing line. And caused the contact with Fritcher.
Yeah, guessing for the Brazilian. Definitely in with a fight for the victory here today. But we're looking like a 2-way fight for that lead. It's Lynn versus Pinero. going at it. 7 minutes left on the clock for the win. Then it's Green versus Soto versus Dantas for that last place on the podium. Then we've got, well, let's say Murakami. Marnie's dropped.
Yeah, he has
Excuse
dropped a
me.
couple positions. Yep. No, he's
Yeah.
dropped. It's still 1 second gap. So it's just there was another car that kind of jumped in between. I don't know if it was Swartz or Cuenca, but was one of the two. But yeah, they're all still in that pack right there. As you can see it, it's that's a nice big 7-car pack coming down with Overstreet just out in front of them. I think she may get caught up by this group here very quickly, especially on these straightaways. They'll make up lots of time, I believe, and so she'll kind of get pulled back to that to this group. And I'm interested to see what the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place cars can do versus Lynn and Pinero, to see if Lynn and Pinero are going to fight and allow those guys to get back into this battle for the win.
Ooh. Deep breath, I think. Just calm the nerves, ready for the next 5.5 minutes here from VAR. Who's going to get it, though? I mean, Lynn and Pinero, I think that's going to be a run to the line. I think, realistically, so is this that battle for 3rd as well. Green, Dantas, Soto.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but once again, if Lynn and Pinero are going to fight every lap for first place, then this may end up being a 5-car battle before the end. As long as these guys work together, and that's the whole key, right? If they're going to swap positions too, it doesn't help them. As we see the gap back from Overstreet down to Mayer is now down to 1.7. So they're quickly gaining on her.
Well, Charles, I've got my iRacing handbook out, and I'm praying to the racing gods that those three behind will work together and shut down that gap between Pinero and Lynn.
Well, it doesn't seem to be happening so far.
No, it's not. It's not. I need to pray harder, maybe throw out a bit of a rain dance or something for that to happen. I mean, it's just growing. I don't think it is going to happen. I think we're settling in here for a two-way shootout for the lead. I mean, they're side by side yet again. They're not going to leave each other alone until we hit the checkered flag.
Yeah, I want to see if they're going to stay side by side through these corners and see what it does to that gap behind. You see Pinero just kind of falls back, lets Lynn kind of take into the lead. He's not battling through each corner. So that's probably a smart strategy on his part.
I'm watching, Charles. I'm watching for you.
Yeah,
and it's
not happening. So, like I said, when we get to these technical sections, if these guys are going to go side by side, that's when you're going to see the biggest drop in that interval. But right now they seem to be okay. Make the pass. I'll tuck back in. We'll keep going, and we'll get to the next one. Is Overstreet is doing a good job. She's actually trying to bring the rest of those cars as they're coming to catch her. She's actually trying to make up that stagger on green in P5.
2.5 seconds is the gap, Charles. So it's not out of the question, realistically, is it?
It's not. Not if they're going to keep trying to battle over P3.
Well, certainly the way they are. I'm watching that gap. It's tumbling left, right, and centre, Charles. But this is where you get the issue. I mean, you've got Dantas trying to break the slipstream, so that is actually going to negate it a bit. Green just making the pass on Soto there.
Yeah, Pinero making the pass on Lynn up front.
All change, isn't it? All change here
now
again.
Now we see that big gap fanning out, so they're trying to swap those positions around.
Now, so net change across this lap, Charles. It's looking at about 3/10, maybe 4 that Overstreet has caught. This group of 3, Dantas, Green, and Soto.
Yeah, and that gap has actually grown from the front too. So it's like 4.5 seconds now from Lynn to Dantas.
I mean, that's amazing, really, considering how hard these two are pushing each other and battling and whatnot. There's 2 minutes left on the clock, so they've got this lap, but then we're going to take the white flag.
Yep. So, yep. So, yeah, I think first and second, unless something bizarre happens and they make contact with each other, those two will be battling for the race win. Still a lot to play for P3 through P5. Obviously, they've swapped positions over the last couple of laps between themselves. Overstreet still trying to make up that gap. It's not quite happening as quick as she needs it to. And then the gap behind her from her to McCain is now down to 1.1. So that, even with their battling together, they still got enough combined power to keep closing that gap down and putting Overstreet in danger of losing that P6.
That gap's being shut down. This part of the circuit is where Overstreet is definitely stronger than that group ahead. I always watch, Charles, how the intervals change, and she takes 2 or 3 attempts. Now, she has got a back marker in front of her. I think that's Chris Forbes, the 912 machine. It's going to help slingshot her down, but just like this case chasing pack, they're just enveloping her and shutting that gap down with big chunks at the time.
Yep.
As Soto and Dantas swap around, so Soto up to 4th now. You got to feel for poor Chris Forbes getting caught up in this big train coming through.
Yeah, this is not a place. That section of track's not a place you want to be a back marker getting passed by a front group. It's just there because there's really not much you can do to try and get out of the way, except truly almost off track and slow way down and get them by as quickly as possible.
White flag in the air. 1 lap left to go here from VIR. 1 lap to take it. Who's got it? Is it Lynn? Is it Panero?
Oh, we had an incident. I see smoke in the background.
Yeah, I think that's Strats and Kabanka. They're registering as they've had a crash somewhere. So I think that's them out of the equation.
And what it did, it actually put Monty in front of Murakami.
Oh, that's a good point. Well spotted. Caleb Pocock looking good for the win in Spec 2 right now. 2 seconds the advantage over Funnison. Although it's just lost a place, so only has Nelson between himself. So that's another battle we do need to keep half an eye on. We haven't been doing so far. It's just the amount of action going on up front. So, where to look? Where do you look coming onto this final lap? Well, keep half an eye. There you go at these two. And I think Panere's in prime position, being behind. But you know full well Yang Lin would defend this with his life right now. So he hugs the inside. The gap's 4 attempts. It's closing. And all you need is the Jaws music playing in the background as Panero closes. It's 2 attempts. It's under 2 attempts. It's down to a 10th. Is he going to pull out? Is he going to make the move? He comes alongside Lynn. He's going to be on the outside as we head down into roller coaster and Panero sweeps through. But there's still the run to the line. This is not quite done and dusted. What's Glenn got left in his tank? What he's got left up his sleeve. He needs to pull something out, and he needs to pull it out now. With 3 attempts the advantage, but I think Panera is going to get this one on the run to the line, maintaining that gap. And Lynn cannot defend. Panero wins here at VIR. Look to the background, and it's Dantas who's leading that way. And Soto's into the pits. He's dropping down through the order.
Oh, no.
That's him out of the equation. And Marnie wins Masters. Murakami second. Right, what's happening in Spec 2? Pocock and Funnison, well, they're 3 seconds apart, so they should be okay. Well, Caleb Pocock should be okay for the win here.
Yeah, I think so. And it looked like Lim, I don't know if he just basically started coasting at the end or if he ran out of fuel. But I'm assuming that's what happened with Soto also, is it just he underfueled too much and didn't have any choice but to come in. Or hit his off-track limit, one or the other. I didn't see him drive through, so...
No, I mean, it's going to be... I mean, well, even then he's going to invoke a penalty of 40 seconds, I would imagine. We'll have that in clarify results.
Yeah, the first 27 have crossed the finish line, so still a little way to go yet. But yeah, a great run by all the class winners. Pocock had a good run. was able to solidify that class win.
As comes Gary Walbart crossing 35th, 9th in Masters is Gary. Wow. I feel almost empty in my life now. That's emptied.
That was a pretty intense race. Obviously the big grid, just the battles everywhere on track. So yeah, it was great racing and it was clean. I mean, normally this
Yeah.
is a track that you'll see lots of off tracks, lots of wrecks, because it's such a technical track. But I mean, we had a couple of those, but overall, no big catastrophes and a clean race. And yeah, it was fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, as I spoke about in the build-up, what we had at Apex Racing Academy F4, when the final, the top three just wiped each other out. We didn't have any of that here. It was super clean, super fierce. Alan McCain at 13 places into 8th. That's a great result for him.
Yeah.
Who picks that, though? Well, not a candle can be held towards, though. Chris Redman up 24 spots to finish in 21st.
Yeah, that was a nice drive. Yeah, we had a lot of, multiple position gains on the track. As we see somebody decide they're going to back up. But yeah, it was obviously a great race. McCain, 13 spots to come into the top 10 in his first season in the Spec 1. It's a really good result because, like I said, this was a really, really stacked field.
We'll chat to some of the drivers shortly, but I think it's everyone across the line, so we get you some classified results in now. Hopefully, I think it's everyone. We're still waiting for it to populate. Someone clearly hasn't crossed the line. So what we'll do in this slight intermission, we'll have a bit of a chat to some of our drivers. Who to pick first? I'll tell you what. First up, we don't expect to. Caleb Pocock joins us now. I mean, Caleb. Just talk us through that race. It was just super tight every stretch of the way.
Yeah, it was pretty tight racing the whole time. I thought I took too much fuel and took myself out of it, but I fought my way back up after the pit stop, so I'm pretty happy to actually finally win.
Well, yeah, you say finally win. I mean, it's your first win of the season. Actually, it's first time on the podium this season. I think the first win ever in SRF Weekend Warriors. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, I've got a couple podiums, but yeah, it's my first win, and up until this point, it has been a very bad season, so I'm super happy.
Well, it's all or nothing clearly for you this season, Caleb. But just to talk about us being in that midfield, it was just one long train. I mean, it must have been so hard to just keep your concentration the whole time because everyone was nose to tail.
Yeah, I was pretty much just following everybody, and we had to break early because, like you said, we were all stacked up in a pack, and then just taking what came at me. When someone made a mistake, I tried to pass them, and when someone tried to pass me, I'd cross them over or just let them have it and just tried to play it safe for the most part.
Well, Caleb, congratulations on the victory. It's a well-deserved break after that one, and well, we'll look forward to seeing you at Willow Springs next week.
All right, thank you very much.
Chelsea, if you managed to grab for a chat.
Well, I talked to him earlier today. I figured I'd just catch back up with him. Jorg Monty, class winner in Masters class, and a good result. I think P8 or P9. Let's see, P9 overall. Jorg, that was a very interesting race.
Yeah, it was. I'm completely exhausted. So Jason told me not to talk too much, so I keep it short this time. No, it was really tough.
Yeah, we were just.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I had not such a good qualifying, so I had to be careful on the start. So I overtook a few people, got a few freebies, and yeah, P9. It's okay. It's nice.
Well, we were talking about it. Just another massive grid, and then we got the start, and it was really clean. Didn't have any major issues, and then this draft train started. that I think was like 28 cars for the first 5 or 6 laps, and it's kind of broke up a little bit. But every time it kind of broke up, it started because of all the battles on track. They just came back together, and it was like that for the first half of the race.
Yeah, that's VIR. That's usually happening that way, but not with so many cars. But that's the first time I have seen such a long train as well. But it was fun.
All right. Well, congratulations on the win, Jorg. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
And we'll squeeze in. I'm going to squeeze in a couple more. We've sat there waiting. Yangji Lin joins us now. I mean, what a week it's been for you, Yangji. And tonight would have been the, just the cherry on top of the cake, so to speak. But I mean, coming onto that final lap, knowing what the slipstream's like around here, and having someone like Marco Panera sat behind you, did you feel like, well, this is going to be a real struggle to try and win this one?
Not really. I mean, I purposely underfueled in the pit stop because I know that they were fuel saving a lot behind me. I was trying the Phillip Island strategy where I get into the lead and slow the whole pack down, but there is not as many heavy braking zones as Phillip Island compared to here. It didn't really quite work out. I nearly lost the draft out of the pit exit, but because I underfueled, I was able to stay with Marco. Could have played a little bit smarter, like sitting behind him the entire time after pit stop, then I probably can fight him to the line, but I used a little bit too much fuel than I expected, and I was just a little bit short. Otherwise, if I have a good exit out of the last corner, I might still get him on the line.
And before the pit stops, wow, what as a neutral and a sat in the commentary box, it was just beautiful to watch. Just talk us through what it was like from your side in the cockpit. You were just chopping and changing every single major overtaking point on the lap. It just looked like an absolute whale of fun out there. Did it feel like that, or was it feel a bit more stressful from your side?
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm trying to get the points for most lap led. That's 4 bonus points. So even if I finish second, that will give less gap to the winner on points. But I mean, I try to not let Marco lead at all, but I think he still managed to lead 2 of them, so he'll get 1 point for that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to do that, and I mean, it's just it's a little bit different racing compared to the Bronhoff's event yesterday, because yesterday I was constantly overtaking to make sure that I am in the front of the pack, as Gustavo said last week. When you're in the front, you have the control on defense. So,
Definitely.
Yeah, it's also making more moves, like shuffle the pack around. There might be some incidents will happen. And, I'm usually not the one who's collective. So yeah, that's just some strategy plays. But I think I could have played a little bit more conservative after the pit stop, but I think even with led most laps and the clean race bonus for me today, I might still be a few points short compared to Marco's win. And since he have a better finish by far than me this season, it will be difficult for me to fight the championship.
It definitely will be a challenge, but even so, if anyone can do it, I'm sure you can. Congratulations, second place, and well, an epic week in all in the runoffs. That's Yangji Lin.
Thank you.
Charles, do you want to? I'll let you, as she sat there patiently waiting, have a quick word with Megan Overstreet.
Yeah, Megan Overstreet that finished P6 in the race. So Megan, it was. How did you think about this? Because we were